Father, help I to be in a position where I can fulfill thy work, so Jah. I really don't want to be in opposition to the leaders, to the scribes, or even you, Jah Jah. But they should not trim dreadlocks in prison, prison. The murder of the murderers, they got to stop. They should not trim dreadlocks in prison, prison. Liars and thieves should not be cops. Liars and thieves should not be cops. Revelation time. Wedge up your hammer, sharpen up your sickle. Revelation time. If ever I should be in a position where I could fulfill thy work, so Jah, I wouldn't want to be a politician, a Jew, a scribe, or a Pharisee. And I would not trim dreadlocks in prison. Murder of the murderers, I'd try and stop. I would not trim dreadlocks in prison.
A new album entitled Open the Iron Gate has just been released on Blood and Fire Records, and it features the work of the Jamaican reggae star Max Romeo. And if you didn't get the album first time around Revelation Time, capture it this time with the bonus tracks, because it is a real joy. And Max Romeo, it's great to have you with us, fresh from your tour. You've been in, you were in Dublin last week?
Yeah, last week I was in Manchester, and then I was off to Dublin, and it was fun, yeah.
How did the Irish take to your reggae vibes?
Very good, man. They were so exciting. There was electricity in the audience, man. They made me feel like working for 10 hours. It was fun.
You've been working for a long, long time. When I was a youth growing up, Max Romeo was this hot artist from Jamaica. You came over to the UK 30 years ago, and you're still making music. How do you keep going? What's the secret?
Well, the secret is to love yourself and to love what you do. And actually, I love entertaining. I love making people happy. That's my specialty. And it keeps me going for 32 years.
Where did you actually start out, and how old were you when you came into the business as a youngster down in Jamaica?
I was about 17 years old. I started out as a little guy taking samples to the record store for orders for a company called Kenlock Records. This man named Blandel Kalnek, very nice guy. And he heard me singing one day and figured I should give it a try. The first song I did, I'll Buy You a Rainbow to Put on Your Finger, was a hit, was #2 on the national chart.
Was that as Max Romeo?
No, it was with a group called The Emotions. I was the lead singer. There was Lloyd Shakespeare, brother of Robbie Shakespeare, and another guy called Kenneth Knight. And we worked together on a few tracks, and then I met up with Bunny Lee, and he kind of inveigled me to go solo. And I went solo, and Bunny Lee came up with the name Max Romeo.
There was some story about you talking to a girl for a considerable time, and the father of a girl deciding that you really were a bit of a Romeo character.
That's right. He pushed his bicycle out for work. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning. I was at the gate standing with the girl, and he came back home at 5. I was standing in the same position, same post.
You were obviously sweet on the girl.
Right.
Max Romeo, my special guest, Sunday evening, Kiss 100. No Peace. From the excellent new album, Open the Iron Gates.
There'll never be no peace down here in Babylon. Feel all my brothers here, down here. To be no peace down here in our neighbor's land. So all we want is to be free, like the birds and the bees. Then we can call you brothers, brothers, we will be. We can break bread together the way Jah want us to be. We can drink milk and honey, no wine we need this time. Then you can be my honey, your daddy won't mind. If you wanna be a priest down here brothers, brothers we will be. We can break bread together the way Jah want us to be. We can drink milk and honey, no wine, we need the style. Then you can be my honey, your daddy won't mind.
Well, it has most certainly stood the test of time. My special guest tonight is Max Romeo. That's a track called No Peace from an album which has been lying dormant but has been reactivated by Blood and Fire Records. What was the score there, Max? How did it all happen? Did they approach you? Did you approach them? What was the deal here?
Actually, Steve Burrows was the guy who approached me. Steve Burrows, he knows a lot about reggae music. You know, matter of fact, he keeps an old archives of reggae records. And he has the whole, everything I do. Steve Burrows got it. So he put it together and he came to me with the idea, and I said, fine, fantastic, because the music business is in a slump today for good music. You know, it's all this dancehall beat, it gets violence out of hand. So it was a good idea for me to have something like that to kind of change the tempo.
When you made the Revelation album, how long did it take you? Because it was very much your project, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was my project. I did it at Black Ark Studio. Lee Perry was the engineer, his studio. He participated in it as well.
But you produced the album?
I produced it. It didn't take me more than about 5 hours.
What, the whole album?
To put the tracks together, and another 4 hours to do the voicing, because I already knew what I wanted to do.
Right. And which musicians did you use? Who were your favorite musicians? Who did you gather around you?
Yeah, there was like Mikey Richards on drums, there was Boris Gardner on bass, Winston Wright, Bo Pete on guitar, Ronnie Bop, and the Family Man played on a few tracks as well.
So you were there directing them and building those rhythms, and,
yes.
then you would put the vocal to.
And then I'd put the vocal on.
Now, what about this Lee Perry character? I mean, isn't he just one of the most eccentric people in the business? How did you get on with him? You and him were very close, weren't you?
Very close. I think Lee Perry is one of the greatest producers ever walked the land in Jamaica, and he did a lot of things. And we've been together for years. Before I even started recording on the label, we were friends, you know. And where eccentricism came in, I don't know. It was just a sudden 90-degree turn in the middle of everything. He just changed his concept and figured that he should approach it as a clown.
Were you surprised by that, having seen his genius? You were there, you were part of it, you witnessed those creations in that Black Ark studio?
I wasn't really surprised. He's that type of person. He transformed by the minute from ever since. But
what do you think was the secret of his sound? How did he get that magnificent sound in that small studio with very basic equipment?
Yeah, it was a very small, miniature studio. I don't know. It's in his head. It's in his head.
It's wonderful and amazing how somebody can just bring a presence to sound because
True.
of what they create. This is one of my favorite tracks from the album originally entitled Revelation Time, but now retitled Open the Iron Gate, recordings of Max Romeo between 1973 and 1977, issued this week on Blood and Fire Records. My favorite track, Taco. What made you write that song? What's the exact meaning of Taco?
Well, they say at the time when they say His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie was dead, there was no proof, and Jamaica was a little apprehensive in believing that somebody could be dead and buried in 24 hours. So they say that Rasta was confused and what have you. The word taco means you're an idiot. So you're an idiot to think that Rasta is confused. We're never confused.
Rasta Max Romeo in the house. Great to have you with us, Max.
My pleasure.
Them say Rasta confused, him no know what to do. Them say Selassie is lost, but only Jaja have the last laugh yet. So Rasta don't get foolish and let the newsmen words fool you. Rasta just play cool and don't be a fool. For me say ja 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 just a cool it. And me say ja 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 just a watch them. And me say ja 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 just a cool it. And me say ja 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 just a watch them. For them a taku taku taku. 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 Them a taku taku. Them say Rasta confused. Him no know what he do. Them say Selassie is lost. But only Jaja have the last laugh yet. So Rasta don't get foolish and let the newsmen words fool you. Rasta just you laugh, laugh at the Babylon them. But me say Jaja 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 just a cool it. And me say Jaja 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 just a watch them. And me say Jaja 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 just a cool it. And me say Jaja 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 just a watch them.
Always loved that song. We're just reminiscing here about a recording which made Max Romeo a household name 30 years ago, and rather like Jimmy Cliff and The Harder They Come, when they banned his records from the radio, he became even more popular in the character that as the character he played in the movie. And in a sense that happened to you, because you made this, at the time, it was a very risque record called Wet Dream. Now, of course, it's nothing compared to what people make, but back in the day it was extremely risque, and the BBC banned you, and you flew into this country, as you just said, 30 years ago this week for your first visit. You
exactly.
Said
yes.
You never forget, it was the 20th of June.
20th of June, never forget.
What was the vibe like for you when you got to England? There you were with this enormous pop hit on your hands. What was it like?
Well, it was like a rags to riches situation. I was like a little ghetto kid. I ran away from home at the age of 14, so I was on my own bouncing about until I drifted in the music business, as I told you.
You were running, you'd run away from home?
I was a runaway kid, yes.
So how did you manage on the streets? Where did you sleep?
Well, the streets of Kingston was different. It was tame then. We were actually under the British rule, and there was a lot of discipline. Morality was tolerable and things like that. It's different from today. You couldn't do it today. You'd die. Well, I did, and I drifted around for a while. So after making this song and hear that it's in the British chart, I was ecstatic. It was good. So here I was in London for the first time. First I've ever traveled, and I'm in this big city. But we had a lot in common because there are a lot of Jamaicans in London, so I felt
I used to laugh when I read in the NME at the time your explanation of the meaning of the song. It was so funny. But in fact, it was a novelty record, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. What it did, it gave, the word Wet Dream was very suggestive. You couldn't say damn or anything like that in them days.
That's correct, yeah.
It was strict.
Fatty Fatty by the Heptones was banned on Jamaican radio because it was considered to be too rude.
Too rude, okay.
In the same year.
All right. So the moral standard was very high, both in Jamaica and England. So for a guy to come and say Wet Dream openly, it was something. And then it was picked up by the skinheads. It was their anthem. So I immediately shut up to stardom.
Indeed you did, but although it wasn't actually a reflection of the kind of songs that you went on to record and had been recording before as well, because as we're listening here from all these songs you wrote, you are a songwriter as well as a singer.
Yeah, I was forced to do that song by Bunny Lee. I was threatened.
Oh, I see.
I was actually threatened. If you didn't do this song, you can't stay around me, mate. so I had to do it.
It was Striker Lee.
Yes.
It was on the, it was a rhythm that he created, was with Derek Morgan.
Derek Morgan, hold the jack while I tie the ginny.
Oh, this is great. Sunday night, Kiss 100. Cosmic Jam's coming up at 10, and our other special guest tonight is Dave Henley. We're looking at the works of King Jammy a little bit later on. But here's another favourite track of mine, Warning, Warning, from this new album, Open the Iron Gate, Max Romeo.
Giving out my warning. And now you rich people listen to me. Weep and wail over the miseries that are coming up on have rotted away, and your clothes have been eaten by moth. Your gold and silver is covered with rust, and this rust will be witness against you and eat up your flesh like fire. You have piled up your riches in these last days, but heads are gonna roll down Sandy Gully one of these days. Heads are gonna roll down Sandy Gully, that's what Marcus says. Your life here on earth have been filled with luxury and pleasure. You have made yourself fat for the day of slaughter. You have not paid the men that work in your fields. The cries of those that gather your crops have reached the years of Jah Almighty. Heads are gonna roll down Sandy Gully one of these days. Heads are gonna roll down Sandy Gully.
Wicked vibe on that record. Who's banging away on those bongos there? Can you remember?
Oh, this is Bongo Herman. Bongo Herman.
Lovely vibe on the album. Warning, Warning, Taco, No Peace, Revelation Time. We're playing tracks from a new, well, a reissue, but in a different form, because extensive sleeve notes and some vintage photographs of you as well, leaping around the recording studio.
Yep, in my young days.
Mind you, you're as lean and as mean looking as you were back then. I don't think you've put an ounce of weight on, have you? You're obviously very fit. What sort of diet do you follow?
Obviously, I haven't followed no diet. It's my metabolism. It's like I can't get fat no matter what I eat.
But you are still obviously Rasta by faith, and that means a fairly... The diet is no meat?
Yeah, it's no meat. It's a lot of vegetables, but... you know, I actually doesn't consider diet. I've never been on a diet. I've never been ill other than a cold. I've never been to a doctor.
I didn't mean diet in terms of losing weight. I meant diet in the sense of the food you ate.
Oh, well.
That's what the way I said it. I didn't mean...
I'm sorry. Yeah, I eat a lot of nuts and grains and vegetables.
And now, another track here, Three Blind Mice. You take a nursery rhyme and you turn it around into something quite special. I think there was was there a DJ version as well? I think by I. Roy, if my memory serves me correctly. But you started the ball rolling here. Whose idea was it to do this record and write this song?
Okay, I wrote it, but it's a King Tubby's idea. It's the only song I've ever done with King Tubby's. It was his idea. He called me into the studio and said, I have this fantastic rhythm called Three Blind Mice. Can you do something on it? I said, let me hear a cassette. And then I just wrote a dancehall scene with police raiding the dance and what have you, victimization in the dancehall, as I put it. And this is the end product.
Bad tune.
Thanks.
Maxi Romeo. King Tubbs at the controls.
I went to a party last Saturday night. When I reached the party, everything was right. Then Babylon me catch me Fred. It was like three blind mice. You could see how them run. It was like three blind mice. You could see how them run. Button sticks start flying. Man start to ball. Some jump the fence. Some put up the fence. But they catch me Fred. When Babylon
Spray those horns neatly, don't they?
They do. Bobby Ellis and Tom McCook and the boys.
Please check the DJ. tell him to turn up sound.
So Max, there was the Upsetter period, your own production here, which is now out. There was some stuff with Bullwackers in New York, where you were a resident for a while. What does the year 2000, the millennium, hold for Max Romeo? What's the game plan, Max?
Obviously, there's not much game plan. I'm just trying to recycle the hard to get Max Romeo songs, and matter of fact, I'm giving 15 more years of my time to the music business, and that 15 years will be more spending on the road than in the studio.
So that's the intention.
That's my intention.
On the road. Because people like yourself, Culture, Burning Spear, the Wailing Souls, you tour extensively, don't you? In fact,
we do.
Yeah, you're hardly really at base camp. You're on the road because of the vast catalogue of songs and repertoire. People will turn up to see you and listen to those songs.
That's true, yeah. I just did Brazil. I did Italy. Actually, I just did an album in Italy, strictly acoustic. It's blending Italian music with Jamaican music, and it worked out fairly well.
Really?
You'll be getting copies soon.
An acoustic set in Italy?
Acoustic set in Italy.
Where's that? Rome, Milan?
In Rome.
Yeah, because I was fascinated. I did something recently in Rome, and I was amazed to know how many sound systems there are in Rome.
Yep. Yep.
They're crazy about the music, the record shops and everything, and Paris as well.
Okay.
It seems that Europe is a major growth area for the music. It's like it's been reborn in Europe.
It is, really. It is. Everybody is involved in Europe. It's nice to listen to reggae with different language, different culture. I mean, the music is what reggae is about, uniting the world. And I think we're doing a good job of it.
Absolutely. Well, Max Romeo, you've been doing a good job of it for many, many years. Thank you for joining us tonight on KISS 100. Where's your next port of call? Where are you off to from London?
Well, I'll be off to Sweden for 3 dates, and then I'll be back in Jamaica, and then at the end of July, I'll be back in Brazil, and then I'll shut and cross for other dates in France and the rest of Europe sometime in September. There's not much time for me in bed.
Busy schedule, airports, hotels, and stage shows.
That's
Max Romeo, it's been great having you on the show.
It's
Thank you,
my
Max.
pleasure, man.
Melt Away, the 12-inch extended mix on the CD. Open the Iron Gate. Max Romeo. Respect.
My pleasure.
As smoke has been driven, so drive them away. As wax melt before the fire, so shall they melt away. And if a wicked pay, and if a righteousness, yes, a righteous pay, melt away, melt away, melt away, like ice cream. He who sits in his heaven shall laugh, for Jah shall have them in his region. Butter them to pieces. Butter them to pieces. As smoke has been driven, so drive them away. As wax melt before the fire, so shall they melt away. And if a wicked pay, and if a righteousness, yes, a righteous pay, melt away, melt away, melt away, like ice cream, scream, 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 like ice cream, scream, 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 scream. Heaven shall laugh, for Jah shall have them in his region. Butter them to pieces. Butter them to pieces.
Skip